Before we dive in, hit that subscribe button, smash like, and leave a comment. Because once you hear this story, you won't be able to look away. The darkness hiding in plain sight deserves to be exposed. It was just past 11 in the morning when the quiet of Canarsie, Brooklyn shattered. The wind carried a chill through the sprawling NYCHA complex, rustling through piles of autumn leaves that lined the cracked sidewalks. What looked like a routine cleanup for a maintenance worker would become the discovery that shook an entire community. A black plastic bag, half hidden beneath a mound of dead foliage, swayed slightly in the wind. Curious, the worker knelt down, tugging at the edges, and recoiled in horror. Inside, a lifeless body, too small to be a full-term baby, stared back with eyes that had never opened to the world. The police arrived within minutes, sirens slicing through the still, gray morning. Yellow crime scene tape twisted in the wind like warning flags, cordoning off the courtyard. Detectives moved with practiced urgency, yet every step seemed to amplify the weight of the moment. A fetus, estimated between 5 to 7 months, was no ordinary case. The air was heavy with questions that had no immediate answers, and neighbors gathered at a cautious distance, their faces masks of disbelief and fear. Balloons and stuffed animals began appearing, memorials for a life that never had a chance. Detective Marcus Reyes, a seasoned Brooklyn investigator with a reputation for never missing a detail, crouched beside the bag. He scanned the area, broken glass from a nearby window glinting in the sunlight, a faint trail of mud leading toward a rear exit, footprints partially hidden by leaves. "Someone brought this here," he muttered, eyes narrowing. This wasn't accidental. His partner, Detective Leela Chen, shook her head, taking photos, making notes, each click of the camera shutter echoing like a countdown to answers that may never come. Inside the NYCHA courtyard, whispers spread like wildfire. Who could abandon a child in such a careless, cruel way? Questions multiplied. Was it a mother in desperation, a stranger with sinister intentions, or something even twisted? Authorities scoured the surrounding buildings, knocking on doors, seeking anyone who might have seen someone acting suspiciously. Each face looked familiar, ordinary, yet the detectives knew one of them carried secrets that would soon unravel. Then came the first clue that made the hair on Reyes's neck stand on end. A discarded cell phone partially hidden in a nearby trash bin, screen cracked and smeared with dirt. No name, no number saved, but the last text received read, "I can't do it anymore. It's gone." The cryptic message hung in the cold morning air like a challenge. Someone had been desperate. Someone had tried to cover their tracks. But desperation could also be a mask for something darker. The detectives exchanged glances, both sensing the same chilling truth. This was no random tragedy. The real story was waiting, buried beneath layers of fear, secrecy, and betrayal. And when they moved to check the nearby basement, a place that no one had entered in months, the heavy locked door creaked open. What they found inside would turn everything they thought they knew on its head. Detectives Reyes and Chen stood in the doorway of the basement, flashlights cutting through thick shadows that clung to the cracked concrete walls. The smell was sharp, damp, stale, and metallic. Their eyes adjusted slowly, revealing stacks of discarded furniture, old toys, and forgotten boxes. But it was what lay beneath a tattered tarp that made them freeze. Another bag, smaller this time. It hadn't been moved in months. Inside, forensic experts would later confirm the chilling truth. More remains, fetal in nature, each carefully concealed, yet all abandoned in the same complex. The realization hit like a punch to the chest. This wasn't a single act of desperation. Someone had been hiding a pattern of violence, a secret meticulously buried in plain sight. The detectives moved quickly, photographing every corner, marking every detail. Outside, neighbors whispered anxiously, their fear giving way to panic. How long had this been happening? How many lives had been lost before anyone even knew? Reyes's phone buzzed. A message from an anonymous tipster. Stop digging. They're watching. Leave before it's too late. He felt a cold shiver run down his spine. Chen, this isn't just about a baby anymore. Someone doesn't want us here. But the detectives weren't the type to back down. Every crime told a story, and they were determined to read every dark line. The investigation led them deeper into the community's shadows. Interviews with neighbors revealed a web of quiet suspicion. A young mother, rarely seen outside her apartment, had moved in and out at odd hours. Maintenance workers spoke of an unmarked car that appeared and disappeared without explanation. Each lead added layers of intrigue. Was the perpetrator hiding in plain sight? Was it someone who blended so seamlessly into the neighborhood that no one ever suspected a thing? Then came the breakthrough. Surveillance footage from a nearby corner store. The grainy black and white images showed a woman, hood pulled tight, dragging a black bag across the courtyard late at night. The footage was brief, obscured, but it was enough for the detectives to start piecing together a timeline. The woman's movements were calculated, her panic hidden beneath an eerie calm. As the detectives followed this new lead, a startling discovery shifted everything. In one apartment, hidden beneath the false bottom of a closet drawer, they found documents, letters, journals, and photographs. Some images suggested pregnancies that never made it to term. The writings spoke of fear, coercion, and threats. It became clear the baby found in the leaves was not the first, and the woman in the footage might not be acting alone. Just as Reyes reached for a photo that might hold the key to unraveling this case, a crash echoed from the floor above. Footsteps pounding on the stairs. The detectives' hearts raced. Whoever had been hiding these crimes was still in the building, and they were coming. In the darkness of that basement, the line between hunter and hunted blurred. And then, as they peeked up the stairwell, a shadow moved across the hallway. Familiar, yet impossible. Someone they thought they could trust. Someone who had been guiding their investigation all along. The betrayal was immediate, sharp, and terrifying. Detectives Reyes and Chen froze on the stairwell, their eyes locking at the figure at the top. It was Emily Vargas, a community liaison who had been their guide through the complex, helping them navigate neighbors, providing tips, and earning their trust. Yet now, the calm woman they relied on seemed anything but innocent. Her hands trembled, clutching a small black duffel bag, and her face was pale, eyes wide with fear. Or was it guilt? Emily. Reyes's voice was low, controlled but sharp. What are you doing here? She swallowed hard, backing toward the hallway. I didn't know where else to go. Please, you don't understand. Chen stepped closer, eyes scanning for any hidden threats. The duffel bag shifted slightly, revealing another tiny bundle. The realization hit them both like a thunderclap. Emily had been hiding more of the same secret, possibly orchestrating or at least covering the crimes they'd been investigating. Suddenly, she bolted. Reyes lunged, but she was fast, darting down the hall with desperation fueling her steps. The detectives chased her through the complex, doors slamming and alarms echoing. Residents peered from their windows, faces pale as a human drama unfolded in the shadows of their own building. Emily reached the courtyard, eyes darting toward the leaves where the first baby had been found. She froze, realizing there was no escape. Reyes and Chen closed in, and then, with a trembling voice, she confessed. It wasn't supposed to happen like this. I was supposed to help them, help the mothers who couldn't. I panicked. I buried them. I didn't know what else to do. The words hung in the air, chilling, incomprehensible. Emily had been part of a small underground network that preyed on desperate situations, young mothers, terrified, isolated, promising help, but leaving death in their wake. She was terrified, but the evidence was overwhelming. The bags, the journals, the hidden photos, everything pointed to her. Detectives called for backup. Emily was taken into custody, shaking, incoherent, as neighbors watched the shocking scene unfold. The community that had once felt safe now reeled in disbelief. The crime had been happening behind their doors, hidden in plain sight, orchestrated by someone they trusted. But the story didn't end there. Weeks later, as the investigation continued, another discovery shook the precinct. In a different part of Brooklyn, a bag was found in a dumpster near another NYCH complex. Another baby, abandoned in the same haunting manner.
A chilling realization hit. Emily might be a cog in a larger machine, and the network could still be active. Detective Reyes stared at the skyline, the city's hum masking the horror that lingered. The case was partially solved, but the true depth of the betrayal and the darkness lurking in the city's shadows was far from over. They thought the nightmare was over, but Brooklyn's leaves still hid secrets, and someone else was waiting, watching, planning, ready to vanish into the shadows. If you think this story was intense, you're not ready for the next one. Hit subscribe so you don't miss it.